Okay, let's talk about trimming your block. Now, when I say trimming, we need to trim it so that it's nice and square. You're like, hello, Amy, it is a square. Yes, we learned that in first grade. However, this square is kind of wonky, and you're not really, and some of them with this method are going to be a little wonkier than others. It's not bad, but when you sew it together, it'll add up. And thankfully, the pattern designer, my wonderful friend over at JD's Custom Quilts, has prepared for that eventuality. So these are actually bigger than we need them. If we put these on my little grid here, you can see they're roughly 5 inches by 5 inches. They only need to be 4.5 by 4.5. Now, I want to explain something really quick in how you trim these. I would just take a ruler. If you have a square ruler, it's actually more helpful, but I don't have one the right size right now, so I'm just using my long one. And I would just take off probably 1/8 of an inch from each side. One thing I just want to mention is that you don't want to just take, you know, in theory I could take 1/2 inch off each of this blue side and I'd be good to go, right? Not so much, because if you take 1/2 inch off of here, see what that does to your lovely little points? Your points go away, and that would be really, really bad. So if you cut off all this, so what you want to do is cut them off equally. So you don't need to do all 4 sides necessarily. I would recommend it, especially if they're not quite square. These are actually fairly square, so I'd probably just deal with this side and this side. So I would take, you know, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch off of this light side and 1/4 inch off this dark side, and then my point still stays nice. So to demonstrate that, and now that I look at this, it's actually wonkier than I thought it was. So what I'm gonna do, let's go ahead. You can see I also have this diagonal line on my cutting board, and something that I like to do is actually line the points up with that diagonal line, and that helps me know that I'm on the right track as far as that goes. And you can see this point is right in this corner, and I need to do 4.5 and 4.5. So that's what I'm going to do, and then you can see these are just a little bit off, so I'm going to just trim that little bit off there. So I'm going to line this up. Cut that bit off. Oh no, missing point. It's okay, we can do this. Sorry, moving the other blocks I just made. All right. Yay! My point is still intact. See? It looks like just a smaller version of what I just did. Okay? Or what I just had. So now I know that these edges are square, so I'm going to go ahead and line those up in the corner. And these just need a tad little bit of a trim just to get them nice and square. Now, say, Amy, you have to now do that to all of your quilt blocks. Yes, I do, and it is totally worth it, and here's why. I was so frustrated for so long because no matter how carefully I sewed, my blocks were still a little bit off, and when you're piecing like this, it's just going to be, and most patterns will take that into account, that you need to make them a little bit smaller to get them square. You're just going to have to go through and trim, and yes, it takes time. Put on a good podcast or audiobook. Because it's going to take a bit, but it is totally worth it. Look how perfect that is. I mean, when I put it on here, measures right at 4.5 inches, and it's just perfectly square. It makes my heart very, very happy. So now I just need to do it to all these, and then after I make all of these in half square triangles, I will then do the same to those. So, see you in a few years, and then we'll get going on the rest of piecing together this quilt.